So my brother and I this morning are going to Michaud State Forest. We're going to be hiking Snaggy Ridge. We're going to be trying to locate the processing sites for the rhyolite, which the Native Americans used. I believe I saw a video called What in the History. I'll put a link down in the comments, and that's what I used to find the site. Hopefully we find it. It's kind of remote, and there's some rules associated with it, which we'll talk about once we get there. But yeah, I'm excited for this. So we just parked at Carball Run Natural Parking Area, and we're going to attempt to find these processing sites for rhyolite. Now, rhyolite's a volcanic rock that the Native Americans used for 11,000 years. They traded all along the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic region, and they used it for like spears, arrowheads. So this is a protected site. You can't take anything from here. As I mentioned before, I'm using What in the History to try to find this site. And here's a message right here. So these processing sites will be like rock shelters with a whole bunch of flakes underneath them. And you'll see, hopefully we can find some. The rock will be like really sharp. It'll flake off really easily, and they would take the rock from these processing sites, then move them down to the creek below to work them and form them into arrowheads or spear points or whatever. So as I mentioned, we're trying to find Snaggy Ridge, get to the top of the ridge, then walk along it. Once we walk along it, you'll see the processing sites, but we're looking for a big processing site that I saw on What in the History's video. Like I said, I'll put a link down below, but we're going to be targeting that, see if we can find it, see if we can't find anything else out here in Michaud State Forest. So when you're bushwhacking like this, obviously better to go in pairs. I'm with my brother. He does have a GPS watch that we can use as backup. I'm using my phone, Google Maps, where I have the point pinned. I also have my purple lizard map, and I have our parking spot pinned, because depending on where we are on the ridge, it might be hard to find where we parked. So you want to make sure you have adequate backup plans so you don't get lost out here, because it can get confusing. So here we are in a rock pile. Not sure if there are flakes or not, but we'll look around. Yeah, here's some rhyolite right here that someone placed on top here. You can see it's very sharp. So around this tree, here's some flakes of this rhyolite. Like I said, it's very sharp, and some of these are probably flaked off from another big piece. So as I mentioned, we are in Michaud State Forest. We're at Carball Run Natural Area, and we're looking for these processing sites where the Native Americans flaked off rhyolite to make tools, which obviously are now artifacts. So we're looking for big rock piles. Like I said, we're just bushwhacking. We're on top of Snaggy Ridge here, and hopefully we find some so we can show you what they look like. So we're coming to pretty substantial rock outcrops, but no flake piles yet. Here's a rock, good example that someone had moved. Very sharp, and it was obviously flaked off from a bigger rock. So here's a man-made rock shelter somebody made. I don't see many flakes down there.
Oh no, they're all down here.
Oh no, my brother said there's a whole bunch of flakes. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of rocks that were flaked off there. So this is probably a processing site, but I don't think this is the processing site we're looking for. And here's actually a piece somebody broke off, put it up top there. There's some really big outcrops right up here. We might find some flakes under these shelters. But it's like some of this has been burned, so assume there was probably Native American activity here, but I don't see any big flakes, so we'll continue to search for that process. So there's these pits here, and you can just see all of these flakes, and they've all been flaked off from bigger rock. So here's a good example right there. You can see that rock right there has been flaked off. Maybe it was formed, I don't know, maybe not, but it definitely was flaked off for the purpose of making something. So look what we have stumbled upon. A rock shelter with a flake pile, and there are just so many flakes, and it's awesome to think that Native Americans were here making tools for thousands of years, 11,000 years, and there is just flake upon flake of rhyolite just everywhere. So these, I don't think this is the one. This is a Native American rock shelter with the rhyolite flakes all underneath. So this was definitely a processing station. So here's another processing site slash shelter. You can see, I'll shine my flashlight, where they processed all this rhyolite down here. They flaked it all from here, worked it down, and then took bigger chunks to the creek below to make spears and arrowheads. Native American Rhyolite Processing Center. So we found the big site they were talking about, and it looks like it's marked right there. You can just see all these flakes all underneath. We'll walk around this rock outcrop, but this definitely was a processing site for rhyolite. So here are these flake piles. Just see the rhyolite flakes everywhere, and it's marked just like on that video. So this is 100% the processing station, and we found it. So we made it to the end here of Snaggy Ridge. We are going to head back. We will look for any more processing sites. We found those two really good examples where they had the rhyolite flakes everywhere. I mean, this is just awesome. Just to think that Native Americans had been using this site for 11,000 years, and they've been trading these points all over the East Coast. Just phenomenal history. So another rhyolite pit, and there's some rhyolite down there. Flaked off a whole bunch of stuff from this rock right here. So here is that one on the way back, that really big site with the flakes everywhere. Obviously a shelter, obviously a processing station. I didn't see this marked by any symbols like the other one, but cool nonetheless. So just to give you a visual, flakes everywhere. Shelter, Native American shelter, and just like tons of rhyolite flakes that flaked off. I'm sure if you were to go down to the Carball run below, you might be able to find artifacts. Like I said, you can't disturb them, you can't dig them, but just fascinating stuff up here in Michoud State Forest. One more look, heading out of this processing station. Rhyolite flakes everywhere. So obviously the best time to look for abandoned sites or sites like this is when the foliage is down. We're early April, so probably don't have that many more chances to get out and see abandoned stuff. And but like I said, this is the time if you want to try to find abandoned stuff or stuff like this without foliage. It's right before spring or early spring. Another thing is venomous snakes. You don't want to be walking through here with venomous snakes. It's too cold for them today. Only in the 40s. So that's another reason you can try to find these sites this time of year. So it took us about an hour and a half and almost 3 miles to get to those processing sites. I'm not gonna put the GPS, but if you check out what in the history, he lists the GPS coordinates, and you can try to find the processing sites slash Native American rock shelters for yourself. Something really cool piece of history. It's cool that we have sites like that in South Central PA. So hope you enjoyed this video and learned something.